Well, hello, everybody. Happy Sunday. Andy Nichols here, the Backwards Traveler, coming to you live and back in my own home studio. No more travel, no more UK. Just me back here on a snowy Sunday here on the East Coast and hunkered down on a Sunday. It's what you do this time of year, isn't it? I know David's doing that. Hello, David, freezing in frigid Michigan. Nathan Troxel, hello. Happy Sunday to you. Mr. Music Sound Gear Jeffrey. Only watching the first half hour, but we'll catch up later. Sure. Yeah, not going to be a long one today, 45 minutes to an hour. Just want to kind of catch up with you all because it's been a couple of weeks with the holidays and going to England and Liverpool and London and Beatley Tone and lots of ground to cover, and just want to have a little catch-up chat with everybody and see what you've all been up to, what you're anticipating, what you're looking forward to, how your holidays have been, all that good fun stuff right here. Hello, David. Joe Mantaneo, hello. And of course, we've got trivia to close our show out today. 10 questions, all wings and Paul base today. And nothing to give away because everything's been given away already and mailed. Thanks to Heidi, the MVP. Everybody should have received their stuff. And if you haven't gotten it soon, you will. Susan Gagney, hello. Hello. And those of you that are American football fans, you like this time of the year because it's the playoffs, right? So yesterday there was one game was really good and the one game was not so good. And then we've got two more games today. So those of you that watch, I hope you enjoy them. Mr. Boyce, hello. Good afternoon. Lots of ground to cover in terms of what we've recorded. Yesterday, I just basically decamped myself into this studio for about 5 hours between phone calls and podcast recordings. Did 2 podcast recordings yesterday. Hello, Elliot. Good afternoon. Hope you're all doing well. It's 15 degrees. It's going to be freezing cold tonight in Chicago. That one is going to be good. Yes, the Giants have landed their man. Thank God we got John Harbaugh. Thank God. The Maras signed the deal and got our guy. And for the first time since Tom Coughlin, we have a coach. Yes. Ted, I'm waiting with bated breath for the GOAT's take on this. And you know who I'm talking about, the one and only Mike Francesa. I love how you and I both listen to him too. The best. He is a New York area, a retired radio DJ, a sports commentator, but now does his own kind of podcast, just like I do right here on YouTube, and highlights comments. And he is pretty engaging and pretty funny. Hello, Sunday fam, and Happy New Year. There she is. Heidi Wags, the MVP. Might make an appearance or two. She might not. Mike Waljasper, hello. Should this disgruntled Lions, that would be like me rooting for Philadelphia. No way, no how, don't do it. You can't root for the Bears, no way. Although I think they might win. The Rams playing in frigid, cold Chicago. Ooh. Lynette, hello. So one of the things I've really enjoyed these last few weeks, and I've listened to it ad nauseum, is I cannot stress how good this is the Wings Blu-ray disc of the compilation. Now that I have a proper soundbar speaker, and poor Boyan and we were trying to pair it when he was here and it just wasn't going. And then finally, after he left, it worked. And Adrian Sinclair has talked about how good this is. It's hearing Wings music in a totally different light. You're hearing nuances that you've never heard before in any other of the songs because they've never been touched and done like this. So, and you don't have to break the bank to have to listen to this, $10,000 5.1s Dolby Atmos system. If you get a good sound bar and attach it to your TV, or even a really halfway decent speaker, that is good, you will hear the nuances and the remixes and all the little things that are buried on here. Because if you just listen to it on vinyl or on CD or streaming, you're not hearing it. Now, if you listen to it on AirPods and you have Apple Music, you can hear the Dolby Atmos mix, which is something that Kyle Hand and I have spoken a lot about. It's like Apple cornering the market to make you listen to this stuff in a new way. But still, the colored vinyl is great. Nice to look at. I love the box, but the Blu-ray has been phenomenal. And it's been a Wings kind of few months, hasn't it, with the book, which I've just finished this morning. And Tom Hunyadi and I are going to record a two legs episode on our thoughts on this book and its flaws, and there are many, and the things that we like about it. So that's going to be the next episode of Two Legs. Can't tell you when it's going to be, probably the next week or two, but did finish it, and it's we have been fortunate enough to have been sent a screener link of Man on the Run from Amazon, and there is an embargo in order right now, and I can't really speak about it, but you will not be disappointed. It is eons better than Wingspan. It's emotional, it's moving, and I really can't say any more than that until the embargo is lifted, which I think is going to be maybe a week or so, or 10 days before the release date, which is the 27th of February on Amazon. So look for reviews of that lives, probably on Hands and on Two Legs. Oh, Mom, my mother just sent me a text that says she can't find it. Mom, it's on my own channel. I'll send you the link. Sorry about that. We're doing this live here. Somebody send Mama Nichols the link. There, I've just sent it to you. Sorry, excuse that interruption. But the documentary is so good, and I want to thank. I'm not going to thank who. I can't say his name, but there is a person responsible for us getting us that screener link from Amazon. So you know who you are, and on behalf of me and Tom, I want to say thank you, because that did not go to everybody, and the fact that we were included, I am so very humbly grateful that our information was shared from Amazon to do that, and be blessed, because a lot of people that should have seen it have not, and we have. So James says that he hopes the doc, I think it's going to get a one-hand clapping type of short run release of like 1 or 2 days. So that should be, good. And let's see. Yeah. Susan says, have they released the list? They have not. I hope they do. I really do. The book has its flaws. The book is an oral history. It's not a McCartney legacy. They've pulled quotes from Paul, from the members of Wings that you've seen in books, magazines, interviews, releases, and they've kind of pulled it all and they've put it into text. And especially like with quotes from Linda and Denny Lane. If you have the 25th anniversary edition of Band on the Run, when that came out in 99, there was a second disc that had a kind of loads of audio from Linda and Denny. That has been transcribed into text in here. The one thing that I wish they do it a couple times. If they're quoting Paul, it might say in the book, it'll say Paul speaking in 2018, but they don't do it all the time. So if they don't specify a date, then we have to assume that this is Paul speaking in the present day about Wings. So if that's the case, great. But again, it's thorough in terms of like, it's got all the dates and stuff. I'll give you a little teaser of it now. And probably one of the best bits of the whole book is the university tour, because there are reflections from students who actually saw and attended those university gigs in February of 72. So that was nice to read in here. But a lot of stuff is a bit all over the place. And if you did watch the Things We Said Today podcast, their most recent podcast was with basically featuring Adrian Sinclair, because Alan Cozen's a co-host. And a good bit of research from their two books right there were used for this. And it's kind of a backhanded compliment, that they weren't but that they used it. But what can you do? You don't own the research. So, but we're very fortunate and blessed that both those guys have done that work. And I'm going to reread both those books this year. Last finished Legacy Volume 2 in 2024. I'm going to go back and read Volume 1 again. Just because there's so much information in there and so thorough. And after reading kind of a glossy, sanitized version, you really kind of whet your appetite to go back and read all the nitty gritty details and the fine amount of research that those two guys did for 10 years. It really just made me want to go read it again. So when I finished this morning, I said, I'm going to go back to Volume 1, but not before I read Beatley Tone's book. There's a shameless plug for you, Tone. No, but one might argue that this book is here because of those two. And I've said that before. So it might be. let's catch up on the comments here. If you've read the hello, sir. If you've read the Legacy books, yes, you do. Absolutely. Because Morgan Neville is a fantastic filmmaker and he crafts such a narrative story that hits home. Yeah, the doc blows the book out of the water. I'll say that. Thank you, sir. Wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't that be nice? Glad you got to see the movie. Yeah, certainly will. Got to wait another month for it, but hello, Lynn A. Can't stay on long. Pop it. Okay. That's okay. That's all right. You'll be with us in spirit when we get to it anyway. James Byers. Hello. Hello. Tom Liverani. Good morning. And good morning to James as well. I'm sure he might be gigging right now. He usually gigs on Sunday. And very big shout out to him for creating another little reel featuring when we had him on with the debut of his brand new single, his debut song, Can I? Which we talked about when we had him on live before we went to the UK. And much continued success to him and his family. One of the best McCartney, families I think I've ever met in my life. Is there going to be an interview with Beatley Tone about his book? That's up to Tone, but I would think not. But that's something that we can talk to Tone about. I can tell you that Tony and I are going to collaborate for something right here on my own channel later in the week. He and I are going to record a little episode about We All Stand Together because it's a song that Tony and I had a discussion in Montreal. Tony in the 80s kind of felt it was kind of like, what are you doing, Macca, with this kind of like childish song? But now he has such an appreciation for it. And me as an American, not knowing anything about Rupert other than its ties to McCartney. So we're going to kind of have this international conversation about We All Stand Together from our different perspectives and the legacy of Rupert and the collaboration between Paul and George Martin and how that was the beginning of their kind of second partnership there in 1980. So quick little fun, episode we're going to do probably 20 or 30 minutes, but that'll be coming this week. But I will ask him. And if he'd like to, then that's totally up to Tone. And Tone's got a new video out on his channel about the value of the box sets, which is volume 4 of that. And he does such a bang up job of telling everybody what the value is now, average, high, and low. And it was actually one of the first videos I ever saw Tone back in the day when he first did it. Yes. Hello, Paul. As far as I'm concerned, the McCartney Legacy is the go-to source for post-Beatles McCartney history. We All Stand Together is brilliant. All right. Rupert the Bear was a big deal in the UK. Yes, as you can see, I've got my Rupert the Bear scarf there, hanging there. So maybe I'll don it for the episode. I was a teenager when I discovered it, only through a McCartney connection, and I instantly loved the track. A couple years ago, when we got the 100th anniversary of Rupert, Paul did that another edition of the colored vinyl. So I happen to think McCartney's work on Rupert, and now people are going to say, oh, Andy, you love everything McCartney does. It's true. I love 99% of it. Okay. But I do love it. And I'm looking forward to hearing Tony's perspectives on it and sharing both of ours. It certainly is. And the flip side, the humming version, which I think is great. Thank you, Mr. Martinez down in Texas, always tuning in. Thank you. This is one of the new Wing shirts that I got at when Paul had the Black Friday sale. When you got all the shirts, I think they were regularly $40. I got them for $28 a piece. Yes. That's the whole Lost soundtrack, isn't it, from '79 that Wings was working on, which has got some amazing stuff on it too. It's an old bootleg called the Animated Films soundtrack, and a lot of that stuff is on there too. James Byers says, We All Stand Together is in many ways no different to something like Yellow Submarine or Octopus's Garden. I can see why people hate it, but if you take it for what it is, it's fine. It certainly is. As fans, we all stand together. Don't we? I want the whole Rupert soundtrack. Yes. Lynn says, Tone's book was so much fun to read, and I enjoyed the frog song. Looking forward to that podcast. Thank you. Looking forward to doing that. And that's going to be something that it's going to be a recurring thing on my channel. I'm probably going to start dropping once a week, kind of this Paul McCartney track of the week, where I kind of pick a song, dive into it, give a little historical context, play you a couple seconds of it, audio, visual, and close it. And that's going to be like a weekly or semi-weekly thing that I do right here on my own channel where I pick a Macca track and do a deep dive on it for 10 or 15 minutes. So look forward to that. And this is kind of the first one of those that I'm doing with Tone. So sometimes I'll do it with Tone. Most of the time I'll do it solo. Mr. Hand on the Run. My co-host for Hands Across the Water. Another great, that's a great one too. Grade 45 disc, that with the yellow vinyl with Tropic Island Hum on the B side. Great. Tom, any updates? No, crickets on that. All I know is that he talks about recording 25 songs, and I want those 25 songs out as a double album. In my opinion, We All Stand Together is the worst song on All the Best. Well, as you can tell, my thumbnail today was all the best inspired. Sometimes when I make these live streams, I do a quick scan of the CDs and go, all right, which one can I do today? I've done a lot of them so far. So I thought, let's try All the Best and see how that works out. Interesting. I want to catch back up on a comment here. It's the perfect sing-along song. Oh, stop that. You're terrible. Well, I will never forget when we were in Manchester, there was a guy dressed up in a full blown on Rupert the Bear costume, head and all, with the scarf. I don't think my friend Boyan's awake right now because it's late in Melbourne, but I remember we were standing in the hallway outside the gig, and here's this little Rupert the Bear guy signing autographs. It was crazy. Oh my God. Oh, no hate on Ebony and Ivory, man. Which, funnily enough, is featured in this book. It's one of the final chapters in the book because the book, of course, does talk about John and then of Paul going to Montserrat afterwards and the whole Stevie Wonder travel timing encounter, which is a lore now about, Stevie showed up like a week later and stuff like that. So Ebony and Ivory is discussed in this book too. Elliot says, doesn't the vocals on Tropic Island Hum remind you of Peggy Lee? Yeah, a little bit. Those are Linda's vocals, but yes. Paul says, here in the UK, it's called The Frog Song. It's considered a Christmas song, sort of, and it's one of the few McCartney songs that the missus likes. There's a lot. It's still good. It is kind of a Christmassy song in the same vein that Mull of Kintyre is. Yeah, in the same vein as Mull of Kintyre. It's a holiday song. One that he won an Ivor Novello for as well. I just wish us Yanks could appreciate this a little bit more. I think if you're a McCartney fan, you're a McCartney fan. But on a whole, I think most Americans, unless you're a really diehard Paul fan, you don't really appreciate the native stuff to the UK. Unfortunately, I have. James says he watched Paul's show from Camden in 2007. Great to see you again. Yeah, Camden Town. Good little spot there. Very cool. That was part of the when he was doing all the pop-up shows. Yeah. I was surprised, says Tom, to hear that Volume 3 of Legacy won't be out until 2028. Makes sense, and that's fine. Those two gents can take their time to work on it. I mean, in 2 years, in 2022, we got that, and just 2 years later, we got that. So you know what? If it takes another 2 years, God bless them. And we know it's going to be the 80s, and we know that the cover is going to be green. Another one that's a very holiday song. That's probably going to be one of the first songs I choose to do as kind of like my McCartney Song of the Week video, just because, it's a top 10 for me, and I really, really enjoy the extended cut. And on all these compilations that you've seen or playlists or whatever, you never hear the full-on version. I'm talking about the one that's like 6.5 minutes long with the really long outro on violin, which was played by Nigel Kennedy. And I've been trying to contact him to come on, but he's not gotten back to me. But I'd love to have Nigel Kennedy, who does that beautiful violin solo on it. But on the standard one, it's always cut. And I think that full version, 6.5 minutes of Once Upon a Long Ago, is easily one of the top 10 best McCartney tunes of all time. And I agree, it is Christmassy. Totally nostalgic. Oh, okay. I always thought it was Linda. David says he loves yes. Although I do remember doing a live some time ago, And I'm going to credit Susan Gagne, she of the copyright guru status, and kind of she knows the nitty gritty of Paul's songs appearing on compilations. She told me that the full version of that song is available on one of those like Now compilations or something like that. And that was the only place to date that you could have gotten the full version of Once Upon a Long Ago on CD in any kind of physical format other than vinyl. I don't know if you remember that, Susan, but I remember you telling me that. Yeah, absolutely. Well, for his 100th birthday, he's hoping to get a copy of Tune In too, which, if you notice, I think I talked about this before too, Amazon does show a date for that at the end of this year. So we might get how many years later? Tune In came out in 2013. Oh boy, 13 years later, we're going to finally get it. So if we get that at any point this year, I mean, it'll probably, again, as Adrian has said, books generally get published in the fourth quarter for the holiday sales. So I wouldn't expect Tune In anytime before November, because publishers like to cash in on the Christmas market, just like physical releases do with box sets and that. Certainly would have improved Flowers in the Dirt. I would love if High in the Clouds came out this year. And we know that, the night of the Man on the Run premiere in London, which was right before Christmas, which Adrian got to go to, he was thinking Paul was going to be at that. And he ended up not being there because he was down the road doing overdub work for High in the Clouds. So maybe that can come out too. I mean, it's late January, right? So I'm sure MPL's got their map of what they want to do this year. Right now, it's all about the movie and the film and the promotion for that. And if you read, I want to credit Ted here because Ted posted this in our Discord. I noticed it during the week. Paul said something about, I'm excited about the release of this film and all assorted items or something along the lines like that, Ted, right? So what that means when the film comes out, are we going to get more Wings material when that comes out? And I will say too, but that the film is called Man on the Run. So it's about Paul. It's about Wings, but it's about Paul. So who knows what that means? I would love if the documentary drops, and then I think David just said it here a few weeks ago. Susan, yes, thank you. I knew that was you. Oh, hold on, I've lost it now. I got to catch up on comments. Sadly, all principles might be gone by volume 3. Yeah. I can't remember where it was now. I think David said it. But yeah, we should see. I hope it does mean that a new album is coming out, because it would be a great launch pad. I think he was talking about when it's coming out. I think the first quarter. Oh, here we go. This is the one I want to show. At this point, yeah. So if the film comes out at the end of February, now you've got the springtime for a release of an album, which I think is great time to drop it. Especially the reaction to the film, and I think people are going to love it. I really do. So maybe, buoyed by the success and the reception of his documentary, maybe he says, you know what? Okay, now I'm going to drop an album in April or May. When that makes a lot of sense, David. So I hopefully you are right. Lynn says, just saw something in the comments about a theater release. So it's rumored, Lynn. It's rumored that a theatrical release will happen, but it's not confirmed. It will be on Amazon on the 27th of February, probably at 12:01 a.m. See if my mother got my text here. Did she get it? No, she didn't read it yet. Well, I sent it to you, Ma. Hopefully she's watching it. James says, Once Upon a Long Ago is Paul's last UK top 10 track. Sadly true. Paul says, the demo of Ebony and Ivory makes me laugh. It was just McCartney on it. Again, the white man speaking for the black man. It's a charming little demo, that, isn't it? First heard that on a bootleg called War and Peace by Apollo C. Vermouth. It's brilliant. And of course, we got it on the box set. Scrolling back down through comments. Elliot says, Denny Lane's wife claims that Paul will be putting out a special edition of Holidays. I have not heard anything on that, but I can't be bothered too much with Holidays. I really love Denny Lane for what he brought to Wings, but seeking out his own material is just something that I'm not into. And I've met him a couple times. I've seen him in concert, but not into really his own stuff. But I'll give it a sample listen for sure. James says, most that bought Tune In would have been tuned. Oh, that's foul. That's foul. But David says it here too. Sadly, all the principles may be gone by volume 3. Oof. Are you talking tune in or are you talking legacy? I think you're talking tune in, right? Oh, here's the answer. It's now, that's what I call 12 inches 80s remixed. There you can get the full version of Once Upon a Long Ago. Thank you, Susan. And Susan told us in Discord this past week that Paul got rights back to Across the Universe. So tune in. Yeah. So slowly, little by little here, Paul is getting back all the songs quietly. And thank God. Thank God he is. So Susan, keep up the good work. We love that copyright detective work that she does for us. Okay. James says, I think Paul should strike while the wings iron is hot and release London Town and Back to the Egg. 50th anniversary. Well, you know what? Enough with the anniversaries. It doesn't make sense. It's been wings, right? Since November. You've got a film coming out that talks a lot about wings. Be done with it. Just be done with it and have it out, Holly, yeah, I know they're all on it. It's not a Wings album. Otherwise, it would be called Wings. It's not. It's by Denny Lane. Just like McGear, which is, again, a Lost Wings album, but I really can't be asked to listen to a lot of it. I like one or two tracks. I mean, it was recorded at Strawberry Studios. I get that. I know there's a connection. It's like but these kind of these vanity projects that have members of Wings on them, if they're not a bona fide project by Paul, I have very little interest in it, other than a passing listen to it. I'm not going to go, but hey, these albums have their fans. And I think if you love that stuff, that's great. I mean, that's if you want to hear you want to hear everything that Paul has had his hands on, go right ahead. That doesn't, you're right. Paul says, I really hope Egg is released this year. The bootleg demos are great. Yeah. And that's that bootleg of Denny singing Getting Closer. The quality's crap, isn't it? But to hear it cleaned up, be nice to hear that. It would. Yes, Ralph, unrelated to Paul. February, the Tales from Topographic Oceans box set is coming out. And that's a good segue to kind of talk about our next Hands Across the Water episode, which we recorded yesterday. It's called Outside the Beatles, and Beatley Tone, myself, and Kyle all kind of dished on three artists that we kind of are really passionate about outside of the Beatles and solo. So, of course, Yes was one of the artists that I talked about. Beatley Tone talked about David Bowie. Kyle talked, who did Kyle talk about? I forget now. Fountains of Wayne. That was Tony. I forget. I have to edit it still. But we're going to drop that this week. And that was a good conversation. The next copyrights will revert to do so in March will be Let It Be. And You Know My Name. Look up the younger. Neil Young. Thank you. Neil Young. That was one of Kyle's guys. Thank you. Yeah. Close to the Edge Deluxe Edition. Very good. Yeah, but the Tales one I really can't wait for. Oh, James has a loose connection to Steve Howe from Yes. He was friends with his son Virgil. Ah, wow. Wow. Brilliant band. So talking to Tony, though, I didn't realize how much of a fan of David Bowie Tony was, and having gone to his house, he's got a lot of Bowie all over his house. So I was inclined to go pull out my Bowie albums. So I pulled out these, Hunky Dory, Spiders from Mars. I hadn't played these in ages, and I forgot really how good David Bowie really is. I mean, I like David Bowie, but kind of on a surface level, but diving back into these albums was really, really fun to listen to him, especially Spiders from Mars. Brilliant stuff on here. Nathan says his favorite artist besides the Beatles, Dylan, Hendrix, and Kiss. Awesome. Rick Wakeman. Awesome. Love Rick. Christian says, hi, Andy. As I know you're a Genesis fan, have you checked out Peter Gabriel's new song? He's releasing a new album at the very end of the year. Another new one? I know he's got new live albums coming out, and I want to give a shout out to Jeremy Porterala. He messaged me during the week. He's got 2 brand new live albums coming out from the early 80s and from the early 2000s. So I will check that out. In terms of Genesis, another great segue. I recorded an hour interview yesterday with our friend Owen Ling from Dublin, Ireland, talking about this album. Genesis, this is The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway, 50th anniversary box set, and had a general chat on Genesis, the solo careers, and good fun recording with him. So I'm going to drop that on my channel this week. So as I said, I spent about 4 hours in here yesterday between that and phone calls and things like that. It was a very busy day doing Beatles and non-Beatles related podcast stuff right here in the studio. The new album is I.O. Yeah, that came out already. Prince Andrew also pulled this. Funny. So let's see. WOMAD. Yeah. So again, we really appreciate other genres of music, because everybody's like, don't you get Beatled out? And somebody made a video about being having Beatle fatigue. I don't. Now you look at this room and say, man, he's a crazy Macca fan. I am a diehard Macca fan. However, I can go down rabbit holes of all this other artists I just talked about for weeks or months at a time, take a break from Paul, take a break from the Beatles, and come back to it and appreciate it even more now. I.O. was the first one. Now this is O.I. Peter in these album titles. My God. Yes, I gave it a listen, but I'm not in love with it yet. It sounds too much of the same. And I talk about this as we all do. I think people like to shoehorn us into one genre and say, this is who this person is. We're not. You can only tell so much from a video screen of what people are into. I've seen Yes in concert 30 times, at least, so, but again, there's more than enough music out there. I've seen Bob Dylan 5 or 6 times. I mean, I've seen The Who 5 or 6 times. So it's good to have eclectic taste, because again, you get more of a taste of everything that way. Okay, catch up on the comments here. Being a musician, I listen. Yeah, of course, as you should. Better palate, right? Of course, Paul is always going to be the home base. That warm jacket we put back on, or the denim one that we put on. But yeah, absolutely. Okay. John Anderson and the Band Geeks. Yes. If you want to go see what's left of Yes, you go see John and the Band Geeks. Tremendous. That's more Yes than Yes. David Bowie's his fourth favorite. Yeah, it is. And his last few albums were brilliant. Black Star and The Next Day were brilliant records. I mean, Black Star, the man releases the album and then he dies. He's an artist that I would really like to spend more time with and really, really go down a rabbit hole. I would say I'm like a slightly above average Bowie fan, but I'm not a hardcore fan at all. But I mean, the early stuff from Hunky Dory on through Spiders of Mars and Diamond Dogs and Young Americans and all that was just great. And kind of visiting Kim and Tony and learning about Tony's taste really and then doing the show with him really opened my ears to Bowie. That's why, again, you've got thousands of records, and you know what? That's why it was like last night the football was on, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to put a couple Bowie records on, and I enjoyed it. Starman's a great track. James says, let's hear the unreleased Peter Gabriel. Can you imagine that? The McCartney and Peter Gabriel track? Well, we know Once Upon a Long Ago was meant to be a Paul and Freddie kind of song, but it didn't end up being. James loves Motown, Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young, Genesis, and the Stones. Boo to the Stones. Nah, I like the Stones. They're okay. Just give me, all I need is Hot Rocks from the Stones. That's all I need. There's an old adage. You're either a Beatles person or you're a Stones person. I think we know what I am. I haven't spoken to you in a while. Yeah, I haven't seen you in a while, Elliot. I know you saw Paul in Buffalo, and a lot of my friends were at that show too. Bob Gannon was there. Joan was there. Nathan says, when I started doing my deep dive into the Beatles way back in 95, which is about when I did. Nathan, are we the same age? I learned who they liked and who they were influenced, and Beatles. Exactly. Yeah. It's about that's really when I started, when Anthology came out. I mean, I think the first time I really started listening to the Beatles deeply was about 93. I got Yellow Submarine on CD. I was about 12. So in 93, I think I have a clear kind of distinct point of collecting CDs and getting Yellow Submarine on CD, watching the film, and then getting Off the Ground at the same time. And from there, it kind of it has not stopped from 93 on. Just a kind of watershed moment in my fandom life. Motown. Oh, yeah. Give me the Temptation. You know what I just listened to the other day? I listened to the Four Tops version of Walk Away Renee. Now, you talk about a song. Now, the Left Bank version is tremendous, but the version by the Four Tops, drop the mic. What a great song, Levi Stubbs. Oh, what a great version of that song. Brilliant. That's one of Beatly Tone's favorite too. Again, more of a UK thing. She's not so big here, although I must say, she had a little bit of a revival here in America. Once Stranger Things came out with Running Up That Hill, everybody started then going, who's this Kate running up that hill? Who's that? So she kind of had a little bit of a revival here, thanks to Stranger Things. But of course, Kate Bush and Peter Gabriel, longtime collaborators. There's a great version out there of Peter doing Here Comes the Flood with Kate Bush backing him up. I think it was on Top of the Pops, say around 79 or something like that. And what a great song. What a great song that is. Hot Rocks. That's all you need. That's all you need. Glam. It is. It is. And I haven't dabbled into much glam rock other than Bowie. You know, Roxy Music or T-Rex, you know, though I do love that little quote from John on WNEW. T-Rex. Buy some of his records, folks. He's getting fat with worry. Nathan says it was always on in the house before then, but back it wasn't cool to like your parents' music back then. No, it wasn't. No, it was not. James says the recently released 5.1 of Floyd's Wish You Were Here is amazing. Again, I like Floyd. I like The Wall is my favorite album by Floyd. I think that record is tremendous. Dark Side of the Moon. Yeah, okay, I get it. It's classic. I think Time is my favorite song on that album, but I do love The Wall. David says Motown's only 13 miles from him. I get to go to the Got Back Museum. I was there the same year Paul visited and paid for the rest of the restoration of the studio piano. Very cool. Elliot purchased the Got Back program for $60. That's about what it's going for. Yeah. Let's see. I remember when that great song. Yeah, we just talked about that, Reed. Yes. Pre-ordered. Coming out. Revealing Science of God. Remembering the Ancient Ritual. Bring it on. Yes, Beatly Tone, we're talking to you. 4 songs of 20 minutes each. Embrace it. Come on now. We're going to convert him to be a yes head by the end of 2026 if it kills us. Come on, people. Let's do it. We got to get Tony to get on board with this. Oh, she is. She absolutely is a national treasure. And I know Mrs. Beatly Tone loves Kate Bush too. James says that David Ruffin, Marvin Gaye, and Levi Stubbs were in his top 3 singers. Yeah. Joe Mantaneo saw. Oh, yeah. Did you guys see Ringo's little video he dropped this week talking about, recapping 2025 and Look Up? And hard to believe. It's been a year since Look Up came out. That is crazy. That flew by. And I was listening to that this past week too, after kind of giving it a break for a while. And it's still good. I really enjoy it. Other than that first track, Breathless, which I feel kind of rambles, Look Up on. I mean, and I think we did a special on it on one of our podcasts. I forget, but it's a really good record. And kind of memories of watching Ringo at the Ryman special. It was on CBS. And then, of course, we went in February to go see Ringo at the Grand Ole Opry. And he talks about that in his little recap video of 2025 and talks about another country album coming out. And having just visited his birthplace in Admiral Grove in Liverpool, kind of full circle moment, being in Liverpool and seeing, the street that he grew up on. And his home, his first home is being turned into an Airbnb right now, funnily enough. So it was really fun to revisit Look Up. And another Ringo country album coming out. James Boyce, the Kinks, the Who. Yes, all of the above, especially the Who. Number 3 for me, baby. And we talk about that on our show, which will be out probably Tuesday or Wednesday of this week. Christian says, in your opinion, who was the better singer of Genesis, Collins or Gabriel? Tie. Because they both sound the same. And we talk about that. I talked about that with Owen yesterday. You listen to Trick of the Tail. Sometimes you're like, that could be Peter singing. So it's a split. Now, I will say that Phil Collins is a stronger live performer than Peter Gabriel. Phil does Peter's stuff way better than Peter ever did it, because Peter just was much more of a studio guy. You put Phil on stage singing that Peter stuff, Phil was just he had a God-given talent given his background. But I mean, they both equally are great singers, but I think Phil slightly edges out Peter just a little bit, but it's nearly neck and neck. Elliot says, other than the Beatles, McCartney, Badfinger, Harry Nilsson, and T-Rex. 90125. Maybe we'll start with that. That might, or you know what? I always say, if you want to try to start somebody into Yes, start them out with the Yes album or Fragile. Don't hit them with Tales or Close to the Edge. Start with something small, accessible. Pound for pound, one of the albums I come back to more than anything is the Yes album. No Wakeman or anything on it. Just, Tony Kaye and Bill Bruford and Chris Squire and Anderson and Howe. The first album that Steve Howe was on. Brilliant record. Brilliant. Amazing the Surviving Beatles are going to be in the, yeah. Ringo is going to be 86 in July, and Paul is going to be 84. Yeah. Yep. The Yes album, man, does not get old. Starship Trooper, Yours Is No Disgrace, Perpetual Change. Mike says, I got Dark Side of the Moon signed by a Beatle Fest by a Wings member. Oh, because what was that? That had to be Denny Lane, right? Because you hear members of Wings. Is that what song is that on? Where you hear them kind of talking about? It's Henry McCulloch. Is it Henry McCulloch on that? One down, one to go, another town, and one more show. It's a good video, that though. It's a good video. Let me make sure I catch up on the comments here. I think I caught them all. We're all good here. Elliot, this is a good polarizing question in the Beatles community these days. Do you think we'll see a fest for Beatles again? No, I don't. No, I do not. I know they have taken a pause for 2026 and they're going to rebrand it in 2027. I don't think it's coming back. That's my unbiased. I'm not connected. I have no inside knowledge on that. I hope it does for the fans' sake and it can be retooled. But my personal opinion is that I do think it's done. But I hope for the Lapidus' sake, they come up with a new brand and a way to kind of keep Beatles fans connected and together, because they have been lovely, lovely things to go to. And it's one of the reasons why I'm doing this show right now, talking to all you people, because we get to go to those things and meet up in person. Forget the guests, forget this. I like going, and as a lot of friends of mine on YouTube have said, between Tone and Joe Mayo, it's about meeting like-minded people, right, at Fest. And there was no better example of that in March of last year, when all of us kind of got a little two legs community together and just hung out. That was the highlight of the fest. Better than any panel, better than anything else. And having Adrian Sinclair over, and if with the fest we had the fest to do that with, but hopefully it can continue, but maybe that can still happen without that. We'll see. We shall see. Create a Beatle. Well, create BeatleCon. Now, if it was up to me, it'd be MacaCon. It would be MacaCon, because we need to have these events focus on the solo careers too. It can't just be all Beatles all the time. You got 4 individual careers, and I know the word Beatles sells and it's merchandising, but come on. You got 4 solo careers that you can talk about in depth, 2 solo careers which are still going to the present day, and 2 others that you can talk about a hell of a lot too, even though they are shortened careers. Come on. Let me catch back up here. Tom says, do you think Badfinger will ever be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Sadly, no, I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think they will. I don't think they were together long enough, right? Isn't there some criteria about that too? Best rock singer, Freddie, Plant, Daltrey are rightly at the top. Paul Rogers is the best for me, and Steve Perry up. Can't argue with that. Henry McCulloch, I thought that was him. David says Badfinger needs to be in the Hall of Fame. Pete Ham created one of the biggest songs in history. It was Mariah Carey's biggest song in the 90s. Yeah. Well, no, you mean All I Want for Christmas Is You? Just kidding. Baby steps. Baby steps. We're going to do baby steps with him. James says, also, do you think Paul gets enough credit purely as a singer? It's easy to perhaps overlook just how I think he gets overlooked as a singer, especially in the 70s. I would say Paul's vocal prowess is basically from say, Abbey Road and Oh Darling to about Tug of War, from like 69 to about 82, 83. And I'll give you a great song to listen to. Go listen to The Pound is Sinking and the No It Didn't Happen part with the scream. Anything in that period, that was McCartney's hottest period in terms of his vocal prowess. When he was still smoking cigs too, and other substances, as we know. Paul Warren Zevon, brilliant, excitable boy. Susan says to Tom, I'm surprised they haven't been already. They deserve it a lot more than recent inductees. They do. Yes. Chairman, Tom Liverani, co-chair, James Liverani, Andy Nichols, and everybody else. Let's put it together in 2026. Let's do it. Oh, there she is. We may possibly just do our own get-together in Chicago because we love the sing-alongs. It might happen. We might just do our own thing. James says a lot of people need to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame at this point. It's not. The Hall of Fame. When you have rap artists in the Hall of Fame, that's when the game is over. Thanks for the call. Goodbye. I'm sorry. We're going to be putting rap artists into the Hall of Fame. Give me a break. Elliot says, I stopped going many years ago and returned to the TWA Hotel and the last Jersey City Fest and had a great time. Yeah, I saw you there. No, it doesn't. Well, we'll see what happens. But you know what? We don't need to pay $300 to hang out and talk Beatles. We can do that anywhere, anytime. It just takes a little planning and coordination. Kyle and I have talked about this for ages, just setting up shop in Washington Square Park and just randomly asking people, hey, what's your favorite Wings song? Things like that. Anybody can do it. And we really need to give attention to the solo careers. I really do. Bieber fans, look at this. I will never forget living in Liverpool back then. Bieber came to town and the city was a nut house. And everybody around the Hard Day's Night Hell was screaming. All the girls, Bieber. It was like Beatlemania. I'm like, get me out of here. I think he was right down the block. Like, get me out of this nonsense now, please. Let me go to the pub. Get these screaming girls away from me. Go chase the kid down the block. Go ahead. Go. Please. Mike says, during COVID, I said we should all get together at a hotel. We can do that too. Heidi says it's Strawberry Field. Yeah, we can go there. Absolutely. Fields, plural, because, the non-plural is the one in Liverpool, which we were just at. TWA was special, though, and maybe some might argue that they should have just wrapped it up and called it a day then. And even though it was small, and that was the first time I really got to connect with James Liverani when he played now and then for the first time, I know everybody kind of hated it. It was small and it was cramped. We didn't even stay at that hotel. We stayed at the Overflow Hotel. There was some kind of a special vibe about being there that day. And of all the fests that have started back up since COVID, starting in 2022 to now, I think that one might be my favorite. That in August of 2024 was pretty special too. All righty. Happy snow day. It is a snow day. Wow, almost 50 minutes now. I think it is time to transition to some trivia. What do you say? Ready for trivia? Or you want to keep chewing the fat and talking music? You guys tell me. I got 10 questions today, and that's it. And then we'll wrap it up. No Trivial Pursuit. I just thought of these this morning. One of them came from Boy and Archer before he went to bed. Thank you. Yeah, that was the first time I met Joe. And he got a butcher. Cover. It was nice meeting you that day. Ted says trivia. Let's play trivia. Ted, and if you know this, listen. It's time for the trivia where they play for pay. Ted knows exactly what I just did there, too. It's a New York thing. Okay. Number one. Here we go. Number one. Where was the ball held for Wings' first LP release of Wildlife? I don't need the date. Where? Again, first one in the comments with the timestamp is right. Where was the ball held for Wings' first LP release of Wildlife? Where was it? Come on now. And these questions are very UK centric today for you lot across the pond. Everybody always says you don't ask enough British questions. Well, today I am. Just about all these questions are UK focused. Oh, come on. You've seen the video. Paul's got the whole tartan jacket on and the sweater. All the stars went there. So there's good footage of this. Come on, somebody over there. The Jameses. The Jameses are going to get this, I think. I think James Boyce is going to get it. That's right. Oh, Elliot, you're on the board. The answer is the Empire Ballroom in Leicester Square. Elliot, you're on the board with one. Elton John was all there, and there was. Remember, if you had the Wings box that they reproduced a little invitation. You're cordially invited to the ball at Leicester Square for the launch of. It was the launch of Wildlife, but it was really the launch of the band too. There was number one. Okay, number two. What punk-inspired track did Paul write circa 1977, but has yet to be released? Has not come out yet, but if you've got your Dutch imports, you know this song. Let's see. Come on now. No. Good guess. James Martinez is the winner. Boyle Crisis. Boyle Crisis is the correct answer. Good guess, though, Susan. But Boyle Crisis was the answer I was looking for. Correct. On to number three. All right. What song did Wings rehearse in January of 1980 but never got to perform live? What song did Wings rehearse in January of 80 but they never got to perform it live? And there is video footage of this. No. Tom Liverani, you're on the board. Very good. Very good, Tom. Nope, that was rehearsed in October of 1980. It was, but that's not. But I don't think it was being rehearsed for the tour. With a little luck, was intended to be played on the Japanese tour of 1980. And these are all kind of correct. They're not wrong, but the one I was looking for was with a little luck. Okay. Number 4. Okay. What song was commissioned for the Mills Brothers, but rejected when they decreed that Paul had to pay them for the rights to do that song? Could not believe this when we read Legacy Volume 2. A lot of gall, these guys. And Paul ended up doing it himself. What song was commissioned for the Mills Brothers and then was rejected? And Paul did it himself. James Martinez on the board again. Baby's Request is the correct answer. Very good. Very good, very good, very good. Can you believe, imagine them? Oh yeah, you can do that, but we want you to do it, but you got to pay us to do it. Like, who are you? The Mills Brothers? Get lost. All right. Number 5. What track on Back to the Egg did David Bowie decree as the best one? What track did David Bowie say was the best one on Back to the Egg? Nope. Nope. Good guesses. No. Close. Nope. Nope. James Byers, the broadcast. Now, you have one. This could kind of be debated because it's been reported, especially in the Wings book now, that Bowie spoke fondly of the reception. But it's also been wildly reported and published in many books over the years that Bowie loved the broadcast too. So what we're going to do is we're going to give credit. We're going to give credit to the reception and the broadcast because that has been officially documented now in multiple sources. So we're going to go. Tom Liverani gets another. Let's see. Tom said getting closer. No. Ted, we're going to give you a point. James, we're going to give you another point for that because it is. Yeah. You don't like to Google. We like that. Honesty, baby. Okay. Yes. Okay. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. This one, credit to Boy and Archer. Didn't know it. This is a toughie. And I've got some photo evidence to help us if we don't get it. But here we go. At which concert was Paul's Hofner bass played on stage by someone else, and who was that someone? This was tough. And I have the picture. I will show you. It'll make sense. If you don't know this, it'll make sense once you see who it was, but I didn't realize it. But this is a tough one. Yeah. What concert was Paul's Hofner bass played by someone else, and who was that someone? So Paul's on the stage, but he's not playing his bass. No. Nope. Nope. Give you a couple seconds and we'll flash up the answer if nobody gets it. It is tough. And you have to really, really kind of dive in. Nope. James Martinez. You're correct. The answer, Justin Bieber. Get lost. Come on, man. The answer is Robert Plant. And the concert was this one, the concert for Campuchia. There he is in the back. So there's Paul and Pete. There's Denny. There's Lawrence Juber with the hat on. And just to the right of him is Robert Plant with the Hofner. Here it is up close. Look, weird, isn't it? There it is. Yes. The answer is Robert Plant. I did want the concert and the person, but we're going to give it to Mr. T-shirt trend setter. Yeah, Robert Plant. Did not know that. So thank you, Mr. Archer, for that one. Good, tough one. Tough. Susan says the problem is I remember hearing these stories, but not the particulars. Well, again, that's what happens. All right. We've got 4 more. Okay. The 1979 UK tour opened up in Liverpool. What was the venue and how many nights did they play there? In other words, what were the dates? What were the dates and where? Yes, it was a good question. Thank you. Thank you, Tom. 2-part answer. Venue and dates. Well, Live Aid too, right? Didn't they come out again for Live Aid at the end to sing Let It Be when Paul was struggling there by himself? I'll give you some time for this one. Where's my man Richard? He's watching this. He lives in Liverpool. He should know this. We got to meet at the pub in person just a few weeks back. 4 dates. 4. I need the name of the venue, James Byers. I said Liverpool. We know it was Liverpool, but the venue and how many nights? And if you're not Googling, I give you a lot of credit. Honesty. And there he is. You're not Googling, right? Richard James. Hey, buddy. My Bowery friend. How you doing, man? The answer is the Royal Court Theatre in Liverpool, 4 nights in November of 79. The 23rd, the 24th, the 25th, and the 26th. The 23rd was a free show for the school, and the other 3 gigs were paid gigs. And that was a historic return to Merseyside. That was a tough one. James, pulling away. All right. Next one. 3 left. What is the official name of the statue pictured on Wing's Greatest, which can also be spotted at the top of Paul's offices at MPL in Soho? What is the name of that statue? You've got to read your legacy book for this one. Which one? What's the name of the statue? Your uncle saw 2 dates on that tour. I had some friends at that show too. Awesome, James. Beatley Tone saw it. A few of them saw 4 nights of that show, also down south. I'm gonna predict Susan gets this. No. James, you're close, but that's not what I'm looking for. No. Still wrong, James. You're so close. You're so close, my man. One little correction on the keyboard and you've got it right. If nobody gets it, we'll give it to James. Come on. Come on, everybody. There it is. Semiramis, which is the official name of that kind of Greek statue that Paul had hypnosis take all the way to the Alps and photograph for that iconic. Oh, lordy. James is winning this one today, gang. All right, 2 left. What was the name of Jim McCartney's home that Paul purchased for him over the water, known as, and where is it located? It almost did cost you. What was the name of Jim McCartney's home that Paul purchased for him over the water? And if you're in okay. Yes, Ted. We're going to give it to you. I was looking for the name of the town too, but we'll take the name of the house. It was known as Rembrandt, and it's located over the water in Heswall. Birkenhead, the poshier side. They always say, it's over the water, the poshier side. I don't know. Liverpool's pretty posh to me in certain areas that me and Heidi saw. I'll tell you that. Yes. Come on now. Home across the water. Rembrandt, yes. James, I got nothing to offer to you, man, because you're already in everything. Last question of the day. Liverpool based again. And then we'll call it a day on a Sunday. Get you ready for NFL football playoffs. At what address / section, I will take either, of Liverpool was Paul originally from before the move to Forthland Road? So we all know the famous address, carpool karaoke, the whole bit in Allerton is 24th Road. It's not where he was born, though. He lived at a couple of addresses in a certain section of town. Give me either the section of town or one of the addresses. Susan, first to the punch. I said either the section of the town or an address. Susan jumped into it. The answer is speak. So I would have taken, so it could have been Speak, or it could have been 72 Western Avenue, which was another address. Everybody, Portland Road was the last place that Paul lived, which is the iconic one. But Speak is where our kid is from and where he was born. That's where he lives. So that's going to call it for trivia. James Martinez is the undisputed winner today of trivia. James, maybe I'll send you a couple Dutch imports via DM as your prize today, that I already haven't shared with you all. But yeah, Allerton. Yeah, absolutely. Allerton's where he ended up. Yes, you won one. Applause for James Martinez. So good job today. Good job, everybody. And look at that. An hour's gone by already. Thank you all for tuning in today to a fun live show. Nice little quick 1 hour show to catch up with you all, talk Paul, talk all music in general, catch up with things, get you all excited for the film, which, having seen it now, so excited for. And I know you guys are going to love it. And when we can speak about it, once the embargo is lifted, I'll tell you all about it. But I really can't say more. Again, as Paul says in Help, please say no more. I can't say anymore. But we will as soon as we can, whether it's right here on my own channel or on Hands or on Two Legs. So I've got 2 videos dropping this week. Look for them. Look for my interview with Owen Ling on The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway. Look for the new episode called Outside the Beatles with me and Kyle and Tony on Hands. And Two Legs will have something in the next week or 2 on the Wings book as well. So everybody enjoy your Sunday, your families. If it's snowing, make some soup. Sunday sauce time. Mom and Dad, get it ready. Me and Heidi are coming down, and we're going to celebrate January birthdays. So everybody who's got a birthday out there in January, happy birthday to you. So, yay, there she is. Quick cameo.
Hi, everybody.
Yeah. So thanks, everybody, for being here, and we'll talk to you during the week, and enjoy all things Macca and Beatles and music. Talk to you guys soon. Peace and love. Bye.